In our previous lectures, we were introduced to the overall research design concept. Then we learned that there are three research approaches that we use to develop our research designs. These approaches are characterized by the methods used to collect data. But it would be more accurate to say that the quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods research differ from each other in the type of data that is produced by these different approaches. Quantitative methods produce number data. Qualitative research produces data in word or narrative form, while mixed methods research produces a combination of numeric or quantitative data and qualitative data in text or narrative form. In this last part of our discussion of research design, we'll see how these three approaches relate to each other in a continuing cycle of research that builds quantitative and qualitative knowledge. In this unit, we will understand how your choice of method, quantitative, qualitative, or mixed methods, as well as the research objectives or problems that you choose to tackle, also reflect your worldview or your philosophy of research. Scientific research is a way of knowing that it's based on two systems of logic. Induction is a process by which we take observations of specific individuals and make empirical generalizations about them. From these generalizations, we propose theories to explain how things work given what we have observed. Specific to general. On the other hand, deduction is the system of logic wherein we take general theories of how the world works and hypothesize that we would expect to find evidence of these theories in specific cases. We can reject or accept those hypotheses through specific observations or individual cases, from general to specific. In this way, the two systems of logic, or two systems of scientific inquiry, join together to form the wheel of science, a continuous cycle of research that goes from induction to deduction and back, from theory to observation and back again to theory, building up knowledge and changing our understanding of the world with each turn of the wheel. Earlier, we learned about the four kinds of research objectives, or the four types of research projects based on their main objectives: exploratory research, descriptive, explanatory, and predictive or causal research. Exploratory research most often involves an inductive process. We do exploratory research in situations where there has not been much research done, and therefore there's little theory about those situations yet. In such cases, we try to observe what we can and use those observations to find out what we need to do further research on. Descriptive research follows exploratory research. Descriptive research can be used inductively to build theories from observations. Descriptive research may also be employed in deductive studies to describe how certain theories are exemplified or demonstrated in certain subjects. Explanatory and predictive research are most often used in the right or deductive side of our wheel. They're often used in experiments and quantitative surveys to test theories and propose better ones as needed. Explanatory research can also be used to examine relationships between variables, where these relationships form the theories that we propose through the inductive process. We can also use the wheel of science and the two systems of logic to explain in very broad strokes why some researchers tend to prefer certain research approaches and why they might prefer to tackle certain types of research objectives. Positivists and post-positivists tend to employ quantitative methods that enable them to apply general theories to specific observations, and accept, reject, or modify the theories based on the data. This applies to much of the work in the natural sciences and in fields like psychology, which have developed many of the statistical tools and hypothesis testing techniques that we use today. We can appreciate the post-positivist view that the truth about the world is already out there. One can get to those truths if one has the proper tools for observing and measuring them. Thus, this philosophy tends to give more value to measurable and objective data that we can collect more reliably through quantitative methods. On the other hand, constructivists and interpretivists are more concerned with understanding and looking at the world from the subjective perspective of human experience. This desire to get into their subjects' heads or to walk in their shoes does not lend itself well to quantification. They seek a deeper understanding of human phenomena, which incorporates the personal and collective experiences of the very subjects of their study. Thus, they tend to utilize more qualitative research methods that can allow them to gain the depth and richness of information that numbers alone cannot provide. If we have positivism and quantitative research on one side, and constructivism and qualitative research in the other, pragmatism and transformative research or critical theory research lies somewhere between the two extremes. They use quantitative or qualitative methods, often employing mixed methods, depending on which method or combination of methods can best address their research problems given their time, resources, and a specific context in which the studies are being done. One final note. We said that positivists and post-positivists tend to lean towards deductive research designs and towards more use of quantitative methods, just as we said that constructivists tend to lean towards inductive research designs based on more qualitative methods. Many quantitative researchers will not define themselves as pure positivists, nor will they rely on purely quantitative methods all the time. Similarly, many researchers who are more comfortable using qualitative methods may not describe themselves as pure constructivists. Ultimately, the choice of quantitative versus qualitative research approaches does not have to be an either-or decision. Of course, it will be determined by what your research objective is, but it will also be influenced by what you, as a researcher, believe about truth and how that truth can be brought to light. In our next session, we'll go more specifically to the four key concerns of research design: defining your subjects or units of analysis, sampling methods, methods for data collection and analysis, and the work plan.